Leon Rose and Rich Paul. And I think Brian Windhorst said on First Take yesterday, like this was the biggest story that was kind of under the radar. So where do you think this leaves the Knicks and Klutch at this point?
Well, I think a lot of the reaction to that story was, first of all, they got to be talking about some specific player. My understanding was it wasn't just about one player, whether it's DeJounte Murray, whether it's Jordan Clarkson. It's about repairing a relationship that had been strained for quite some time. And it's about moving forward with a business relationship because Klutch has a lot of clients and the Knicks are a major market team. And as CP just said, everybody wants to play here now all of a sudden. So it's advantageous for both sides to work through this. And I think it wasn't about LeBron and it wasn't about DeJounte. It was about the Knicks and Klutch moving forward with a business relationship. That's my read on it. I know, Ian, is that yours too? I know you reported on it as well.
Absolutely. I thought the LeBron stuff, tying it into that, to me, it didn't make sense because my understanding was the same as yours. It was not about one player. I do know like some players were discussed, some specific players were discussed, but it was never about, hey, let's repair this relationship now so we could trade for LeBron ahead of the deadline or Anthony Davis ahead of the deadline. It was more so global. It was Rich Paul meeting with William Wesley and Leon Rose. The meeting with Wesley took place prior to the meeting with Rose. And I think some people at the Knicks are happy that this happened because they felt that not having access to an agency such as Klutch just is not good business. So I think there some important people were glad that this sit down took place. And Steph, you and I were joking about how it's kind of like a mafia sit down. You breaking bread.
Like
which is fun stuff. CP, what was your read on this whole thing in terms of the Knicks and Klutch and looking at this team now? What do you think it could mean moving forward?
Yeah. Well, I think it's always good when you commend those fences. The two most powerful factions in the sport. To have them sitting on either side of the fence, it shouldn't be good for business. So to have those guys come together and break bread should open up the candidate pool for the Knicks, which would bode well for them as they move forward in trying to build a contender. But I have a question for you guys, just in your experience in dealing with agents and the agency management dynamic. A lot of people, when we talk about bringing in players that have extra time on their contract, thinking about guys from Klutch, like if you think about a DeJounte Murray and a Jordan Clarkson, in the vein of you bring them in here now, you trade them later. What do you guys think of something like that as it relates to, the goodwill generated from a meeting like this?
Yeah, it's interesting. Two things here. One is people want to know, like, how could Klutch even influence a trade? And the answer is the agency really can't, but it behooves teams to work closely with agencies they want to have relationships with on these trades. So you're going to put him where he wants to go in a stage that player's excited about. I don't think Rich Paul was ever going to prevent any player from going to New York. If a player wanted to go to New York, he would have facilitated it. But now all that stuff is out the window, and it appears that bridges have been mended. With DeJounte Murray in particular, yeah, there was interest there from the Knicks, but I think just the way they've gone so well with the starters, and the starters have been so successful. Would you want to do something that drastic to break that up? So I think that's part of the equation on DeJounte. I think he still could get moved at the deadline, despite Quinn Snyder wanting to keep him. But I just have a hard time seeing the Knicks meet that asking price.
Yeah, you know what my wife's big question with the Rich Paul Leon Rose sit down was: does this mean Adele is going to be playing at the Sphere? Can you get me tickets? So Rich Paul, if you're listening.